I'd started work at the local grocery store just outside of town. It was a nice place to work, the people were friendly, and everybody knew everybody, so the customers were all familiar faces too. As lone man on the totem pole, it meant that I had to do all the grunt work jobs, including cleaning the bathroom, cleaning spills in the aisles, and collecting carts from out front and bringing them back in. I was doing just that and was pushing in the last load to the store when a customer flagged me down. They said there was another cart just beyond the parking lot. I thanked them and went to go fetch it. The store wasn't in the center of town we lived in, and the town was kind of a rural area, so the store was surrounded by woods on the back and the side. The other side had a pharmacy, and across the street was a gas station, but the area I was walking towards was just woods for a good long way, so it wasn't uncommon to see some animals like deer or foxes here. Made it to the end of the lot, and sure enough, there was a cart. It was halfway down the ditch, so it took some doing to get it back up, but I didn't see a fox on the way, and she had a little baby with her, so it was worth it. The next day found me doing the same, and on a whim, I decided to look in the ditch, and sure enough, there was another cart down there, but this time a bit further into the woods. I sighed and got it back. It was a nightmare, but I got it done. Unfortunately, I didn't spot any wildlife this time. I had the next day off, so forgot all about it, but on my next shift, I was again getting carts, and sure enough, there was one down there again, even further away. To heck with it, I'm not going to go in the woods for a cart. I put all the carts in place and went about to get ready to do my next task. My boss called me over and told me that a customer had spotted the cart, and I told him that it was too far in the woods for me to get. He gave me that look where, if you didn't do what you were asked, you were in for a talking to, so I sighed and went to go get it. I got down in the ditch again, but the cart wasn't there. I looked around and spotted it. There it was, even further into the woods than it had been before. I stopped. That was odd. It meant whoever was doing this was still around. I walked slowly up to the cart, put my hand on it, and looked around, but there was nobody there. Further in, I could see even more carts, like a trail of them, 3 in all. I swallowed hard and made my way to the furthest one in. I would try to gather them up and pull them all out at the same time. I got to the furthest one, and the ground, it just seemed kind of soggy, and the area stunk. Great, now my shoes were going to be wet the rest of my shift. But I didn't think about that too long because the ground beneath gave way and I fell into a fairly large hole. I pulled my phone out and put the flashlight on so I could see. There were a lot of carts down here. Some were new and some were old and rusty from the old supermarket that had been here 20 years ago. I then heard a noise above me and looked up. An old bag lady. She had another cart and pushed it into the hole. It hit me, hurt my shoulder, and broke my phone. She giggled gleefully and kept dumping carts on me. I tripped over something. It was a body. I recognized the uniform. It's the same one I was wearing. His name tag said Eddie. He was the guy that I took his job. We assumed he had just quit and left town, but no. He was here all along, riding with the carts. More and more kept falling into the hole. I screamed. She laughed.